Welcome to Men, Relationships, and Other Fables. If you want authentic, thought-provoking conversations and insights that transform, you are in the right place. Please welcome our host, Nicole W.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Hi.
Hi. We learn and grow from those who have done the work and manifested phenomenal success in business and in life. Today, I have Charlene Taylor, the founder and CEO of the Social Gym Club. The Social Gym Club is more than a virtual-based fitness system. It is a community and a movement. Thank you for being on the show, Charlene.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to share with you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on this platform. Thank you.
So excited to have you on our show. So Charlene, please share a little bit about the Social Gym Club, how you got started, and a moment of truth that was a breakthrough for your company.
Awesome. Yeah. So the Social Gym Club is a connection and intimacy building platform for health and fitness enthusiasts, right? So we provide fitness classes, activities, events, live, virtual, on demand, and in person. In addition, we have a Being Social page, which I'm really excited about because it allows individuals to connect and find workout partners, make new friends, find a love or romantic partner. And, all those individuals usually are, into health and fitness. And what really got me started was just really realizing that I've been in health and wellness for most of my life. I ran track throughout college and bodybuilding and was a 2-time NPC bodybuilding champion and top 10 fitness competitor.
Wow.
So when I look at, being a mom and being a business owner, that's a busy life. And I was like, well, if I wanted to date, where would I want to meet men? And it's going to be at fitness events or basketball games, health and fitness type stuff. And when I looked around, I really didn't see a platform for that. Everything is, swipe right, swipe left. And I really wasn't into that. So that led me to create something that I found was a missing for people to have, health and fitness enthusiasts to have a platform to connect with each other.
Wow. So how long has the Social Gym Club been in business?
Wow. So the vision came to me in October of 2020. And so literally with our team, we were able to set up and establish the company within 90 days. We've gotten everything set up, the website, the structures, the contracts, hiring people, everything was done in 90 days. I've never set up a company this fast and this effective. And it's been really, really invigorating excitement day after day. So I'm really excited.
I'm inspired by that. That was really, really, really rapid.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like that was a major breakthrough for your company, like a major breakthrough to be able to start something from zero to hero in 90 days.
It was an extraordinary breakthrough for me personally, just because my way of being is I'm a doer. I like to get things done. And so typically my old way of being would have been to have this vision, have this idea, and spend tireless nights and days working on it by myself, getting it done alone. And really implementing teams and teamwork was what made it so effective, because not only was it my idea, but it was ideas of the team that had it come together as effectively as it has.
Wow. So, Charlene, we have a few questions about the real world of business and relationships.
Awesome.
So we did survey and we posed this question. What would you ask someone who is successful in business about relationships? So, Charlene, here's the first question. When it comes to knowing who to trust and who you can work with.
Ladies, before we get into that, I do apologize for the interruption. But Charlene, we wanted to hear a moment of truth that was a breakthrough for your company.
A moment of truth that was a breakthrough for my company was when I could not sleep I had many days where I would be in bed trying to sleep and couldn't sleep just from the ideas that was pouring in, the vision that was pouring in. And then when I finally shared it with my team and everybody was excited, I knew I had something.
Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So, when the vision first came to me, it was first, of course, just a thought like, okay, well, where would I date? And when I first shared it with the team, what I was creating, the first person I shared it with was actually not living in Houston. He actually relocated to Houston to come be a part of this project. So that was really exciting. He had me ecstatic. The fact that he was excited about it, really let me know that this was something not just exciting for myself, but exciting for others. And then the first gym that signed on as a partner, a strategic alliance partner, he's a gym owner and he was ecstatic about it. And everybody I've shared it with has had and shared the same excitement. So I'm so clear that, that this is the right path to continue on.
Well, since you mentioned a gym signing on, can you tell us a little bit about your engagement model? Like so you have gyms sign on, and can individuals sign up?
So basically, the initial way that we're set up is that we will have, again, it's strictly to create connections, have individuals have a platform to connect, right? So we will have, we offer virtual classes, people who are at home who may not be comfortable yet just getting into the gym, but they want to get into health and wellness and meet other people. So they can join virtually and get connected virtually. In addition, the gyms that we have partnerships with will host monthly events, a minimum of 2 events a month. They could do more as they choose, but a minimum of 2 events a month that people can come on site. And one of the gyms that we signed on, he's calling it Chill and Grill. So they can come and work out and then thereafter have mix and mingle with people who worked out in that class. So they have on-site events at gyms in addition to having access to meeting people virtually.
You shared something about, sleepless nights, so when you're, I've had that same experience, like when I'm like working on something and it's like, it's just calling you. Yes. It's like a calling that you can't deny.
Yes.
And
yes, absolutely.
And it's not even about sleep at that moment. It's like you have got to fulfill this calling. You have to answer the call. So it sounds to me that this calling, like there's just something that called you to really want to make a difference, not only just for yourself, but share that with others around health, fitness, and relationships. And I have got to tell you that if having like a relationship in your life and being aligned on something as important as health and fitness makes a huge difference. I know it makes a difference for me.
Right.
So the social gym is really providing a really great community for people.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I would say I felt like I was being guided. Like, I felt that this vision was putting me, I've always, as long as I can remember, I've always asked God to allow me to be a blessing to others. Right. And I felt like I was being guided. I would have questions about things and within seconds, the answers would come up. I literally had to type things down on my phone. It was coming in so fast. I really felt like it was being in the creative zone, and being just spiritually guided throughout this process. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's evident. I mean, like I said, 0 to hero in 90 days.
Yes.
Yes. Amazing. So, Charlene, we're going to go back to those questions about the real world of business and relationships.
Awesome.
Okay. So we did a survey and we posed this question. What would you ask a person who is successful in business and relationships? So here's the first question. When it comes to knowing who to trust and who you can work with, what has been your biggest lesson?
Well, I think my biggest lesson in business has been that you have to treat business like it's a business. I've gone into business dealings and not really had the correct contracts in place, the correct agreements in place. And oftentimes I find that I have expectations of others that's not clear for them. And then so what it looks like is that I have an expectation and I haven't effectively communicated it. And the individual then fails to meet those expectations. And then I have it that they're not doing their job. Mm-hmm. And so for me, the biggest thing I would say is make sure that you have contracts in place. It is no one's fault if somebody does not do what you think they're going to do and you don't have the correct contracts in place to protect you. So I think my story I can share with that was I had a client that with my current company, it's a healthcare consulting company that asked me to start their business. We started their business and they went through survey. They had absolutely zero experience in home care. And they went through their survey, passed with only one deficiency, which is very rare. And they sued the company because the company was a viable company. They sued the company for $150,000, even though the claim wasn't a valid claim. But because I had ironclad contracts in place, their case was not substantiated. And so that would be something I would say is make sure when you start your business, as you create strategic partnerships with other vendors and take on clients, those contracts are in place. That's one of the things that we've done very well with our contracts that we've developed for our members. We have a contract for our Social Gyms members. That was one of the first things we did. So anybody who signs on as a member has a contract. We've drafted contracts for employees and trainers that are coming on. We've drafted contracts for the gyms that we're having strategic alliances with. So I would say the key is to make sure you have your contracts in place that protects your entity.
I agree with you on that. And if I've had, in the past, I had a business and I had contracts with my clients and contracts with the contractors working for me. And I was fortunate enough to, when I first started off, because I really couldn't afford an attorney, I had a contract that a large, I won't say the name, international company shared with me that they had with their vendors. And they told me that I could use the wording of that contract to create a contract for myself and my clients. And so I can tell you that contracts make all the difference, as well as really having a really strong relationship with your client and vendors and always keeping the channels of communication open. So a question I really do have for you is, when it comes to knowing who to trust, how do you know who you can trust?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of, I trust God. I trust my instinct. My background is in psychology. I'm very gifted in reading people. I would say I have a very good nose for seeing when people are coming to me and they're not authentic. I have a good nose to when people are coming to me and they're trying to pull the wool over me. I just can see people coming, and my way of being is to allow them to play themselves out. I don't interrupt it. I don't judge people. I just allow them to be who they are. And I make a judgment of, does how they are and who they are work for me, or work for the company, or work for what is the intended outcome of the project. And if it doesn't work, then I'm in communication about it. And if it does work, then I'm also in a communication about it. And so I think over the years, it's just been experience that there have been people that I've trusted that failed me. But for me right now, the over 20 years of experience I've had in business, what I see is I'm able to read people extraordinarily well, and that helps me a lot.
So you mentioned that, during your years of experience, you trusted people and they failed you. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I had employees that I hired. And again, a lot of this has to go to be with, I'll share with my consulting company. I'll share with Social Gym. So with my consulting company, I can share that because I've had, over almost 20 years of experience there in business. With Social Gym, it's been 90 days, right? So with my consulting company, I had employees that I trusted in generating services that were paid very well. I actually had another employee come to the office early and saw that there was an employee that was trying to really steal a client from us. And this client was going to be a $15,000 client, and was able to get her to confess what she was doing. And so that was situations among many that I had employees that were not trustworthy. With Social Gym, the experience that I've had is that in assigning potential, I see potential in people because I see people in their greatness. And in assigning positions and creating team members for the development of Social Gym, I assigned a specific team member to be responsible, if you will, for hiring all of the fitness, all of the trainers. And it just didn't happen. And I trusted that it was going to be executed because we were meeting every day for the past 30 days. And within 30 days, there was an expectation of us hiring trainers to help move the project forward. And within 30 days, there were 0 trainers hired. And at that point, again, there's no judgment. It's just, does this person work for what I need them to do? And if it didn't work because it wasn't effective, I have choices to make. And I made the choice to bring in someone else that was able to come and have that fulfilled. So that's how I operate most often.
And as you're sharing that, I had a similar experience, and it was really having an employee complete a project. And I know for myself, sometimes the challenge is like knowing when to cut your losses on something. Like when you're knowing when, okay, this is really, really great, that, I'm learning that there's something going off, but when do I, cut my losses and move on? So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
And so the next question I have is, on your path as an entrepreneur, have you encountered any naysayers or saboteurs? And if so, were you surprised who they were?
I don't entertain other people's opinion of what I'm doing. I'm very, very clear on that. And so I would say on my path for Social Gym, I've not had any naysayers. Specifically, one of the things that I've done is, while I was in the development stage of the company, I didn't share with anyone. Outside of the team members that I needed to have the company established, no one knew what we were doing. And I deliberately did that. No one in my family knew. None of my friends knew. Only the team members that I chose to be a part of the project and moving it forward to give birth to it was part of the knowledge of what we were doing. And every single one of them operated under a non-disclosure. The intention is to stay within the creative energy. I didn't want anyone to have anything that would impede my growth and the path that I was on. So after I had already created Social Gym was when I shared it with my family and friends, and everyone that I wanted to know. It was like released all at the same time. So there wasn't any space for naysayers. I don't leave or give room for naysayers when I'm in the creating mode. Once it's done, people are always going to have their judgment and assessment, and they own it. They have a right to it. It has no bearing on how I move forward or how I operate.
So what about in your health consulting business? Have you encountered any saboteurs or naysayers in that space?
I'm sure that I have. I just give it so little time, space, and attention. I can't really pinpoint one particular incident. I say, I've had customers who would come in and say they want things to be done a certain way, but how I run my companies is it effective and efficient? If what I'm doing is effective and efficient, then I keep it in place. And if it's not effective and efficient, then there's choices to be made. And so I can't really tell you, I'm sure there has been over the 20 years. I just don't pay it any attention or give it any breathing ground. So I can't really pinpoint it. I would have to do the looking. and see if there's something that comes up. But right off the cuff, I don't give naysayers space to come into my world. It's ineffective. And I don't give space to it. I'm very protective of the energy I allow in my space at all times. And I think that's why we've been so successful, is because everyone has a right to their judgment and assessments of me. I just don't give them the space to share it with me. I feel like you own it. It's your right to have it, but you don't have the right to share it with me. Well, and that's worked very well for me.
Yeah, I got it. And if they share it, it doesn't belong to you.
That's right.
Yes, I got it. So thank you, Charlene. We have another question coming right up.
All right. Awesome.
So the next question from the survey is this. There are plenty of married couples who have successful businesses. From your experience, what mindset is needed for having a romantic and business relationship that is empowering?
I think the mindset is growth and expansion. When you have an individual that is interested in growing and expanding, they're open and they're welcoming to ideas and suggestions. I think both couples I feel like both couples would have the mindset of expansion and growth. In addition, really being able to separate work-related incidents from home, to keep work at work and keep home at home. Support is also another mindset. I had a guy that I was dating that was extraordinarily supportive, and not just supportive in just coming up with ideas, but he was a dreamer. And because he was a dreamer, he came up with a lot of visions and a lot of ideas, and I'm an executor. So he dreamed it and I executed it, and it worked very well. So I would say those two would be the two mindsets. If you've got two dreamers, then nothing gets executed because both people are coming up with ideas, but no one is an executor. So I think really being able to identify, who's the creator, and allowing that person their space to be a creator and not trying to make them something that they're not. And then identifying, well, who's going to be the implementer? Who's going to be the person who has this happen? Instead of both parties trying to take on the same role, really creating a cohesive connection and partnership in having the dream fulfilled is what I would say would be the mindset that would be effective.
Just speaking from my own experience, one key mindset that I see is a mindset of empire building.
Correct.
So my husband and I, have a business that we have together. I had a business in the past that he supported me in. And, our mindset has always been about what would make a difference for the empire, right?
That's great.
And he's the king of the empire and I'm the queen. And together, here's what we're creating for our empire. And so, you were sharing about, one person might be the dreamer and the other person might be the executor. And in empire building, both could play the roles and play to their strengths. Like my husband is really, really amazing with managing money and making it grow. I mean, he's phenomenal with that, right? I'm the dreamer type where I'm like, okay, let's look at this and let's go in this direction. What do you think? And then we'll talk it through. And
right.
And we'll poke holes through it. Right. And it's like, okay, great. I didn't see that. And it could be that what I came up with was not even viable. And then I'll, come up with the next one, or maybe he'll come up with something and then we will play off of each other. And then we're looking at, okay, the key question is this going to make a difference to the empire? Is this going to build the empire? And for us, it's not just from a business perspective, it's like from our romantic relationship as well. From that perspective, is this going to make a difference for us in what we're building in our relationship? Is this going to make a difference in how we like to operate? And so for us, that has been like the driving mindset. That's the key question every time we take on something new. Is Is this going to expand or enhance the empire? And if it isn't, it's not in.
Right. And that's why I say the growth and expansion mindset is extraordinarily important, because if you have an empire and you don't have the growth and expansion mindset, that empire doesn't grow.
Exactly. So we're going to take a moment and listen to a track from Chianne on a segment of the show we call Groove Moves.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, and you get to vote on whether the track gets a smooch and a rose or gets a little fertilizer.
Got it. Awesome. Okay. I'm ready. I am ready.
Okay, DJ, let's hear Return to Love.
Living in an era in which we get to realize that our fears are far behind us as we return to love. Open your heart, return to love, to who you really are. Turn your face up to the sun, root your feet on the ground. Dark clouds come and go, you remain as a sky. Shine bright no matter what, swipe away all the dust, 'cause you're a stardust.
Okay. So, Charlene, are you giving the track a smooch and a rose?
I'm giving the track a smooch and a rose. I'm a ballad girl. I absolutely love, right? And I found myself wanting to sing along with that song. So, yeah, I'm giving it a smooch and a rose.
I'm giving it a smooch and a rose, too. I mean, I'm thinking, returning to love is really the ultimate thing to do each and every time we get into a space that is just unworkable.
Yes.
And then just because that's who we are anyway. We just forget.
Yes.
And the song just reminds us, return to love. That's who, and I'm like, okay, that's who we are.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm like, this is a perfect, really phrase to kick off 2021.
That's right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And the Social Gym Club, I know there's part of what's underlying that is returning to love, right? Because it provides.
Right. We have classes for couples specifically to build intimacy. Because a lot of times when relationships are fizzling out, intimacy is lost. And so we have couples classes and dance classes and stuff to restore and build intimacy with couples.
That's
absolutely
so awesome. So if you like Return to Love performed by Chianne, please check her out at Chianne.com. That's CHIANNE.com. So, Charlene, are you ready for another survey question?
Absolutely.
So, our next question from the survey is, what are 3 pitfalls you have seen people fall into when it comes to balancing their romantic relationships and having a successful business?
I would say the number one is really being clear about what the relationship and what your partner needs and expect. I know for me, when I was starting out my business, it took a lot of my time, and my business was my priority. I made it clear in my relationships that my business was my priorities. And so I made sure that I didn't get married because I didn't want to have to make the sacrifice of the relationship. I knew at that time I was committed to my companies and it growing. So being married, having children wasn't a part of my world when I was in my 20s. So I was very specific in being clear that I didn't want to have to make sacrifices in my business because I was married. Different marriages have different expectations. I knew I wasn't willing to give the relationship time, and all relationships need time. So if you're in a marriage and you're starting a business, it's important to be clear with your partner how much time is going to be required, and make sure if it's just creating date nights once a week, that time is put aside for that, and that the business doesn't take over, because even though you have your business, your husband, your wife still needs time. And for me, my primary is quality time. So my primary love language is quality time.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. I mean, I started my business. I'd been married maybe about 6 years, right? So I was a newlywed, and I'd been having conversations with my husband about, what's next for me, right? Because I had a career working for software companies, and we had a conversation about it, and I really got his alignment, because you're so right. If he was not in agreement, it was not going to work. If he was not willing to support me in what it was going to take to make that business go, it was not going to work. And he was my rock. And I had that business for 16 years. And it was because he was my rock, and was, it's like, the days, because, when you're running a business, there's like your ups and downs, you have your good days and your bad days. And just somebody to go to that you could talk to who would get you, not make you wrong, and just be there for you, as you're working through these things. And then also with the financial ups and downs too, like being able to weather that, because I can tell you what happens with a lot of couples. Financial issues are kind of like one of the top 3 causes of relationships to break up, like marriages to break up. So having someone who can like ride those financial waves with you makes a huge difference. So what other pitfalls have you seen people fall into?
Another pitfall that people fall into is, and expectation that the business is going to just happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It takes, just like when you plant a seed, you don't go back tomorrow and say, hey, I'm looking for that corn kernel, that corn kernel to be a full grown corn. It does take time, and you have to nurture it, and you have to always continue to examine what's working, what's not working, and make those necessary adjustments. So I think when people go into a situation and they don't examine what's working, what's not working, there is not, a measure or a method that they put in place to make those adjustments. So things keep not working, and it's just not working. It's just not working. There's no adjustments put in. So it's very important to have, checkpoints and examine what's working, what's not working, and then make those necessary adjustments to get it on the course to have the desired outcome.
Yeah, for both the business and the relationship. What's working is what's not working, not just the business.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So what other pitfall do you see that people fall into?
I think the final one for me is like you kind of talked about earlier was financial. It does take money to do a lot of things, but it's not always the case. I've seen people run into situations where they've not had the capital to move forward, and they're stopped. And my way of being is, okay, let's be creative. Money doesn't always have to be money gives opportunity and leverage, but there's other things, bartering systems, negotiation, partnership, giving up percentages of the company. There's so many other ways to move the needle forward, or to move that ship forward. And you don't have to be stopped by revenue or by money, right? So if you have a goal to do something, it might be advertising per se. And for Social Gem, we might partner up with some radio stations and have them have free membership so we can get some spots. There's just different creative ways to have things happen besides saying, okay, I don't have the capital, I can't move forward.
Yeah, you're so right. Yeah, if there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely. That's my mindset. There's always multiple ways to do the same thing.
Exactly. So we have one final question.
Sure.
There's a lot going on. If you had a magic wand and can change one thing, what would it be?
If I could change one thing, it would really be what the song was, really restoring everything to, like, people having to recalibrate everybody back to love. Because I have it that you're operating from love or you're operating from fear, and everything else is in that bubble. Abundance is operating from love. Lack is operating from fear. Like, everything that has happened is either love or fear. So if I had one, I would just have 2020 recalibrate everybody back to love, and let that be the starting point in which they move through the year.
Yeah, like restoring our core operating system.
Yes. Hit the reboot.
Yes, because fear is a virus.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I would do.
Yes. So, Charlene, this has been a really, really great conversation.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to share and get the message out there for our Social Gem Club.
Yes, and thank you for sharing your wisdom, and really thank you for reminding us really to return to love. Like, that's really the key message, for at least for me, for 2021.
Right. And I think 2020 was very important for me to get that. I'd spent so many years being busy. Even when I was having conversations with people in the background, it was like all the things I had to do. Mm-hmm. And when we had to shut down for the coronavirus, what it taught me was connections. What it reminded me, connections for me is very important. And I believe that this project would not have come to fruition if I hadn't really gotten present to how important human connection is for me, and how much I've avoided that by being too busy with work. And so I just really, really am grateful for the vision, for the project, and for the journey that we're on in getting this message out to an ever expanding number of people.
So, Charlene, how can our listeners learn more about the Social Gym Club?
They can visit socialgymclub.com. We are on all the social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter at Social Gym Club. And all of our Instagram and social media platform is on our website. So they can the best way is to visit the socialgymclub.com website.
Great. Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you for having me.
It was such a pleasure and so inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. So thank you. I am Nicole W, and you've been listening to Men, Relationships, and Other Fables. Until next time.